Join me this morning as we welcome Mr. Olumide Emmanuel. He's a motivational speaker. He's a minister. Amongst many other things, he's also an author. He's a chairman, Common Sense Group. I like this one. And global president, the Billionaires Conclave. Good morning, and thank you so much for joining us on the program.
Yeah, thanks for having me. Yeah.
And so I can't resist the temptation to start this way. I took down a number of some of your nuggets that you're popular with.
Okay.
And so here's some. If you gate crash, you will crash land.
Yeah.
You can never win a prize for a prize you did not pay.
Yeah.
If you appear before your time,
You disappear.
Now, how do you come up with these nuggets?
Some by inspiration, some by repetition of what other people have said, because in life we learn from people. So when I hear people say things that resonates with me, I try to listen to it over and over again until it becomes something that is conscious. So you have to move it from the subconscious to the conscious, and it becomes a software that runs your own life. So some of them are inspired, some of them I learn from other people.
And so they're not just a play upon words. They're not just a pun, because when you think about them, they appear to be true when you really take time to reflect upon them. Now, let's talk about goals. A number of us have goals, and sometimes when you see successful people, sometimes they're geniuses who have achieved their success, and there's sometimes there are a number of average persons who also happen to achieve success above average. So from your experience as a coach, what do you find to be in that space that they do differently? Either they're average or geniuses who are able to achieve their full potential in life?
Well, globally, goal setting has already been known to be one of the major keys to success in any aspect of life. But the challenge is that a lot of people are not intentional. You see, everybody sets goals, but some people set it consciously and some do it unconsciously. Almost everybody wakes up every day, I'm awake, I need to eat. Oh, that's a goal. I need to eat. You now start planning to eat. But if you do that with eating, taking your bath, brushing your teeth, wearing your clothes, going out, why not do that about the major aspect of your life also? So everyone sets goals, but the difference between those who excel is, number one, they are intentional about the goals that they have set, and number two, they actually act on it. Because 1,000 good intentions are not as powerful as one action. So a lot of people have good intention. I plan to, I hope to, I intend to eat them. Start doing it. That's when the results will come. And that's the missing link for a lot of people. That's action.
So that brings me to the issue of discipline and ethics.
Yeah.
I want you to speak, because I've listened to you a couple of times, and there's that consistency of intentionality.
Yeah.
Why do you think people are not intentional the way they should be? And that has separated a lot of the packs.
Their why is not strong enough. They don't have a strong enough why. Like you said, I'm the global president of the Billionaires Conclave, and we host, our annual events. As a matter of fact, it's this morning, so people are already waiting for me now.
So gathering this morning.
Oh yes.
So we can follow you from here.
So the 5 of them are lodged in the hotel already, and we're starting 9 a.m. this morning. But I had to come because of the invitation now. And 3 years ago, a lady walked into that meeting where about 3 of us standing just discussing, and she comes in looking out of this world. Her shoes, her bag, the perfume was what was like, wow. And she sits down there, goes through the first day. The second day of the meeting, she stands up to ask the question. I don't understand. Now, when I came in yesterday, I was like billionaire in this Nigeria. But I came in, I saw a lot of young people. And the way people are calling billions since yesterday, I'm like, are we in the same country? So because the entirety of last year, that was the previous year, that our entire turnover for the year was less than 10 million. But look at that guy. I know that guy. About 4 years ago, he still borrowed money from me. But I know he's a genuine person. I can say, I didn't know that you people are making this. So why am I not making the same kind of money? Now this day too, and she's dressed up. So I asked her, I said, all these things you are wearing, do you know how much it costs? That when you came in yesterday, we saw you. I said, that means it's either you have a rich husband, or you have money, or a rich father that is taking care of it. Also, yeah, I'm married and my husband takes care of me. Is there anything wrong in that? I said, that's why you can't make the kind of money that we are making. But if you are a single parent, you have a man taking care of you, taking care of all your bills, the desire, the drive to make money will be lower. I said, if you have a useless husband that is not taking care of, or you are a single parent of 2 children, and you still have mother, brother, sister, everybody on your head. I said, you will make more money because you have a stronger why. I say your why is not strong enough. And are you now telling me that I should not take money from? I say, I say, listen to me. Wealth is not sexually transmitted. You are married to a rich man. That does not make you rich. You are the wife of a rich man. You are not rich. Because if that man dies today, can you give yourself and the children the same quality of life that man gives? And so I'm not saying don't collect money from yours. I say have a bigger wife. Say, so what's my wife? I say let your children become your wife. I say because the children are not your husband's children, they are your children also. So make up your mind and say, by the time these 2 children are 18, I want to hand over ₦1 billion each to 2 of them. When that becomes your why, it's not about survival, it's about vision. I said when you do that, you begin to drive, because every time you drive, you face opposition. You're like, I can't come and keep myself. My husband is thinking, what am I even looking for? And so now you know you are looking for something. The next year she did over 100 million.
Wow. This takes me smack into the
That's why the common sense comes in.
right? And I'm really intrigued by this Billionaires Conclave of a thing. I've always had this dilemma, or not a dilemma, a big question about life. Why isn't everybody rich in that sense? And Jeffrey has maybe tackled a part of that question, but now to find a very good balance, because they always say Nigeria is the poverty capital of the world, and the next thing is the government is not doing well. That's why we have that number of poor people, that high population of poor people, right? But there's also the personal bit. So how do we find a good balance? Because some will say, well, I have good intentions, but when I want to do stuff, there's no light. The road is bad. There is terrible healthcare system, policies, and all of that. So in this climb, you've been able to show that we can have billionaires, yes. But how can we replicate that in terms of personally and government policy-wise? Now,
the first thing you need to understand is that everybody can become rich and wealthy,
in spite of the...
But not everybody will become rich and wealthy, because not everybody will know and do what they need to know and do. Some don't know what to do, because if you know better, you do better. Some know, but they don't do it, and they just hope and wish that one day it will just happen. No, riches are cash-based, wealth is asset-based. So you can be rich because you have money, but that doesn't make you wealthy. To be wealthy means you have assets that is now producing the cash flow. Now, every time people talk about the crisis in Nigeria, crisis creates opportunity, because money hides in problem. It is those who solve the problem that have the money. So every time you are complaining there is no road, look, sit down with elderly people. It has always been like that. In the 70s, they had their excuse. In the 80s, there was still no light. In the 90s, so it's because many times people think it's a special problem. These challenges are actually the tools that will make you rich and wealthy when you solve the problem. Because money flows in exchange for goods and services, and it flows in exchange for value. When you offer value, money flows. What is value? Meeting needs, solving problem, answering questions. So yes, government has their part to play. About 75% of Nigerians live below $1 a day. That's extreme poverty. So no problem, we know that. But now, how do we solve the problem of the poverty, of the situation around us? That is what gives you the money. So instead of thinking about the problem, think about the solution. Every time you wake up, have what we call VAT, value added thinking. What can I do differently? What value can I add? How can I solve it? It is when you solve those problems that you make money. The people are poor. People are living under the bridge in Lagos, living in wooden shanties, but they eat at least once a day. If we have 25 million people in Lagos, so it means that at least 1 meal a day, 25 million meals a day. Not to talk of people that eat 3 times a day. So out of that 25 million, which one are you providing? People brush their teeth every day, whether it is with sponge or with Paco and Shakola and salt. Anyone, people bathe every day, they use soap. So think about all the money flowing. That's in December. How many billion did they say cross Lagos? Almost $90 billion.
They've not been able to get a handle on the full value.
Can you imagine that? So which of them entered your pocket? Nigeria will say, oh, this is the budget for the year. As they are reading the budget, you are not a foreigner. You should sit down and go, more. This money, which one is my own out of this budget? You start looking at each of the sector. Where can I play? People are not ready to solve problem. You know, we do all this phoning program every time, and when I sit down, when they started this phoning program thing in Nigeria, radio program, I didn't believe it would work, because I'm like, so people will use their money to be calling you. But it started working because people were looking for a place to vent. So what had happened is what was happening with all this free readers association, where people sit in front of a newspaper vendor, they transfer it to the media. They will say, hello, who is that? What do you think? This country, have you noticed that almost every time people phone in, nobody is bringing solution? So what do you think we should do? That's the problem. The government, and everybody is complaining. The ability to identify problem is not a high level of intelligence. Everybody that have eyes can see when the place is dirty. Everybody that have nose can know when the place is smelling. It is the ability to solve the problem that makes you someone that is valuable. So we should become problem solvers, because the more you complain, feel like complain from today to tomorrow. Some of the people you are complaining to, they are deaf and dumb. They are not ready to listen to you. They are not ready to answer you. So you have to become intentional about becoming a problem solver.
So I'd like to think that, flowing from everything that you have said, the expression, the Billionaires Conclave, is not just a beautiful sounding phrase, that they are indeed billionaires. Are you a billionaire, sir?
This is asset declaration form.
Yes, I am.
You're a
Because
billionaire.
I have assets worth over $1 billion. I've written over 100 books. One book alone is worth over $1 billion. Because if you look at who is a billionaire, then we begin to break it down. So, but for me, it's all about assets. So once you have enough assets to be able to do that, then you're good.
So a lot of us know you as the motivational speaker, the minister. Is it the author? Is it based on your work as, you know, these different realities and personalities that earned you the billionaire status in reality?
I've been doing business for 37 years. Should I be poor?
Okay. So you're also a
So
business
I didn't wake up one day and find money. So it takes time. Wealth creation takes time. It's not a get-rich-quick scheme. It's not something you just wake up and become wealthy. It takes time. If you are 10 years old or you are 20 years old, just yesterday, I just came back from Benin yesterday night. One of the speakers that spoke yesterday spoke about how she bought a land for 35 million 23 years ago, and she sold it for almost 800 million. Can you wait for 23 years? I went to Ikorodu in 2001 and bought 100 acres of land for 50,000 per plot. 2001. This 2025. Can you wait for 24 years? Do you understand? I went to Abuja in 2008 and bought 100 acres of land for 50,000 naira per plot. I waited till now. Can you wait? So wealth is created over time. So when you see people that are wealthy, it begins with a wealthy mindset. So all the people in the billionaire club, they are not all billionaires as in they have 1 billion, but they are people that have a mindset of offering value that will attract that level into their life, and that's the way it works.
There's a concern I would like you to speak to broadly, and I'm happy because we can listen to you for as long as we continue to talk. Transgenerational wealth is a problem in Nigeria. Sometimes we even look like people like Aliko Dangote say, God forbid anything happens to this man, what happens? Why do you think, because I think one of the international network they have a program called the 100 Club. Your company must be at least 100 years old before you can be on that program. Why can't we have that in this country and sustain it?
Now, one of the major reasons why we don't have that is because you need a transgenerational mindset, a transgenerational vision, and a transgenerational strategy. When you look all around us, most businesses and organizations in this part of the world that are started, that are indigenous, they have not crossed 50 years. And the reason is because the first generation is always a pioneering generation. They go through the grind and they produce wealth by their sheer hard work and ingenuity and doggedness. But the second generation becomes a maintenance generation. Let us maintain what daddy and mommy has done. Let it not be destroyed. By the time the third generation comes, they become an entitled generation because they don't even know where the wealth came from. They are probably born abroad with a second passport. Driver is taking them to school. They don't know how to enter Molwe or enter BRT. They don't cook. Somebody is cooking for them. So by that third generation, they become entitled. By the fourth generation, they are back to poverty. So what needs to happen is that the first generation must be a pioneering generation. The second generation, while maintaining what the first generation has done, must also begin to pioneer their own and take what has been done into their own generation and relate it to their own time and season. The third generation, while enjoying the perks, must also generate their own and bring what has been done into their own generation. You see a lot of people that are around today. I was in Benin, like I said, one of the members of the Billionaires Conclave, a multi-billionaire. I had a session with her and her husband, and they said, please talk to our children. Many people have raised children with money from Boli, money from Agbado, money from things, and the children are sent to school. They now graduate, instead of it to now carry that degree and come and take the Boli to the next level, take the Agbado to the next level. They now enter bank, they enter oil company. What happens? So I was telling the girl, I said, listen, your parents use the money of printing press to raise you. They use the money of bakery to raise you. Now you have a certificate. You are saying you want to go and do this. So who now takes over all this? So many people need to understand that the next generation will not be passionate about what you are passionate about. So I have to tell the parents, listen to me. You can't force them to do whatever. You don't start business because I want to hand over to my children. That has expired. Well, starting business now, start a business because you want to offer value and make a difference in your generation. So what you need to do now, we're going to go into another strategy. Let's begin to think of ownership and management. These children cannot manage this thing. So what you now need to do is retain the ownership within the family, but let's get somebody else to manage it. So they can own it, but they don't have to be the one to manage it. And that's the new level. We have moved from wills, you are doing will, you are put it in a trust. So there are strategies to all these things, which is what we try to help people to understand. So for me, that's why we don't have transition, because the next generation is not generating, they're just relying on what has been generated.
Wow.
I know this generation is always like, we're not the problems here, right? Because it looks like everybody is at them. No, this is how you should do things. And they're saying, no, I need to do things my own way in that sense. And I know that there's that constant battle, millennials and Gen Z. Gen Z will tell millennials that, well, you suffered and you took it. We don't want to suffer. We want to be able to say no and stand by it. We're paying attention to our mental health. So if my mental health is not being prioritized, exactly the term now, we leave and we don't care what happens next. So people have said, yeah, absolutely, let everybody go their way, but they still need to have some sort of learning. Let there be that kind of handshake. Maybe Gen Z's learn to build a structure and all of that. But I want you to speak generally to the mindset of the coming generation. What is that thing you think they could add to make them phenomenal? Because they are great people, but it looks like there's something missing.
And you know, many of us grew up under the military era. And the military messed up our minds and messed up our psyche. And for many of us also, I say to people, if you are living in Nigeria, you are traumatized. You just don't know. You are traumatized every day. Lights, water, road, everything. So, but this new generation, they don't want to go through that same situation. So what I will tell them is to understand that we are not fighting each other. We love you, we care about you, we want you to have a better life. But if you think you have a better idea, bring it to the table and let's have a discussion. And let that handshake take place with honor and respect. So the older generation should honor and respect the younger generation because they know more than you think they know.
Right.
They are more wiser, more intelligent, more exposed than you, but they don't have the kind of experience that you have. So you need to understand, like we say in Yoruba, you can have all the designer clothes, but you can never have enough rags and experiences like the elders, because what an elder will see sitting down, if you climb Kilimanjaro, you will not see it.
They say they use drone now.
So you respect the wisdom and the experience of the elders, and that will help you to be able to survive. Let me bring in the scripture here. When you look at the story of Samson, a very, very powerful story. You see, Samson became blind. But when he got into the 3,000-seater temple, the temple was standing on two pillars. Because he was blind, he could not see the pillar. But he had to look for a young boy. He said, please, where is the pillar? He was blind. The young boy was visionary. He knew where the pillar was, but he didn't have the strength to pull down the pillar. When he located the pillar with his vision, Samson pulled down the place with his strength. So we need the vision of the young and the experience of the old to bring down poverty and lack in our lives.
Just totally out of time. We can continue talking about you.
So we don't have transgenerational wealth because we don't have transgenerational mindset. 1,000 good intentions is incomparable to one action. Riches are cash-based. Wealth is asset-based. I've added that to my vocabulary. Thank you so much, sir. We've been having this very interesting conversation with Dr. Olumide Emmanuel. He's a chairman, Common Sense Group, global president, the Billionaires Conclave, and common sense guru and wealth creation agent. Thank you so much, sir.
Thanks for having me.
And we look forward to having you on yet another invitation.
And I love your wife. I should see your screensaver. So.
Yes, indeed. Thank you for that, sir.